Good evening, Spencer. How you doing? Tagging a couple groups here so that they can see this. I know that most people won't see this live right now. It is Friday. Depending on your time of day, you might get it, you might not get it. We'll see. But we're hanging out here with something called the Brain Collapse Peach, a creation made by Drax Diego. I just pulled these off the plant. Good afternoon, Bill. This is that Brain Collapse Peach. Gnarly, bumpy pods. I would have on my shirt, my Drax Pepper shirt, but it's being laundered for whatever reason. I think I had it on the other day. So the Brain Collapse plant is behind me, so that's why I chose to sit here. I just pulled all the fresh pods off of that plant. I have quite a few things growing from Drax. I have a great admiration for what he and a couple other Italians are doing. Actually, quite a few Italians. They do some cool stuff. I actually had to write this down. The genetics of this thing are so complicated that I had to write it down or I'd get it wrong, and I really wanted to kind of get it right. So this is a Brain Collapse Peach. The Brain Collapse Peach is a BBG7, so a bubblegum Peach Ghost Jamy, crossed with the Simona's Wrath Peach. So that's a lot of stuff going on there. So to break that down for people that don't know what's going on with this pepper, it's a lot of genes in the gene pool. So the bubblegum is a Moruga Scorpion crossed with a Trinidad 7-pot yellow, some of which produced a bleeding calyx, hence the bubblegum. And so the BBG Peach Ghost Jamy was a bubblegum crossed with basically a peach boot jolokia, a ghost pepper, so a peach ghost. And then Drax took that pepper and he crossed it with a pepper that he's bred, which he calls Simona's Wrath Peach. His Simona's Wrath Peach is a 7-pot Moruga, peach colored, crossed with a Jay's Red Ghost Scorpion. That's a lot of genes in the gene pool. So it's interesting to see that everything on the plant is relatively consistent, symmetric, each pod reminiscent of the other. They all have the kind of almost like the death spiral reticulated pattern going around them. There isn't a typical bleeding calyx, which is kind of a character trait that a lot of people associate with the bubblegum, the BBG7, and that's what they look for, is a bleeding calyx. This doesn't have the bleeding calyx, but I mean, nonetheless, it's a pretty impressive pepper. I've sent these out to quite a few people, and they've told me that it's a serious contender on the heat side. I haven't eaten full peppers of these. I've cut them up and had little slivers here and there. I was kind of waiting to eat a whole pod for a video for my buddy Drax, because he sent me a free shirt, and I said, dude, I'll be happy to review some of the peppers that I'm growing of your seed stock. So like I said, the plant is behind me. It's kind of a short, stout plant. I probably pulled about 50 peppers off of it. It's probably got about another 30 on it now. Those should come to fruition. Still got a good amount of time before it gets too cold here. If things go well, should have about another 5 to 8 weeks, hopefully. So we'll see. So we'll see what's up with the Brain Collapse Peach. We have a slightly crooked-nosed pheno, and we got a straight pheno and a wannabe slightly crooked-nosed pheno. I'm gonna hold on to that one for seed stock. This is kind of the norm on the plant. We'll go with this one. They all feel about the same density. One of the comments I made earlier when I was sending these out is I was amazed at how dense, how heavy these peppers were. They had a little bit thicker wall. heavy placental tissue. It's for this sized pepper, it's actually really heavy. I didn't weigh it, don't need to, don't really care. But for this size pepper, you'd think it might be somewhere in like the 8 to 10 gram. I'll guarantee you this is probably 16 minimum. But like I said, didn't weigh it. That's just my gut feeling. We'll see how my gut feels after eating this. And I don't have my knife, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna eat half of it and I'll show you the other half on video. So here we go. So, just chomp down on half of that. A lot of placental tissue in there, man. A lot of placental tissue. Whereas in a lot of cases you get the white placental veins going down the walls. This is a little bit hard to see. This is all placental tissue right in there behind my finger. You see that? That placental wall goes from the side wall of the pepper in to the center of the pepper. Hold it. Nice citrusy type flavor. I'm gonna knock out one or two of those seeds. As you can see, they're a little bit brown, more so than, I mean, probably doesn't affect anything, but screw it. We'll just leave it alone. I don't want to get my fingers all spicy. So, definitely has a boot reminiscent flavor, but a lot more citrusy, like a Moruga. Johnny, this would be excellent for hot sauce. Absolutely excellent. I've already got a powder out of a lot of these. It's an excellent powder. So as you can see, I mean, that placental tissue is relatively thick. A little bit of glistening walls on there. I'm not going to eat the entire seed base. I've had no food today. I had like a granola bar this morning. I know if I just chomp on this, I will regret it 2 hours from now. And 2 hours from now, I'll be driving north of here. Yeah, it does have a lot of seeds, Ryan. Definitely. Whew. Well, a good amount of pepper to chew on. Like I said, they're dense, heavy peppers. Placental tissue makes up for a lot of that weight. Yeah, Casey tasty, actually it is. Citrusy. A little bit floral. A hair of bitterness, but only a hair of bitterness. More fruity. So it's definitely picking up some of those Moruga tones in the flavor, which is good. I mean, in two parts of the parental heritage, it's got the 7-pot family in it, which would make me think it would possibly be more floral than it is. It's definitely more floral than bitter. Definitely fruity on the nose, citrusy and fruity on the nose, a little bit floral on the backside. It's starting to attack everything. Back 3/4 of the tongue, upper end of the esophagus into my throat. It's got some serious heat. Serious heat. But a good flavor in the mouth. It's not bitter at all. A little bit floral. Very fruity though. It's still fruity. It's the pronounced fruitiness, and as I'm starting to salivate, and it's making me salivate like crazy. Wow. I've had slivers of this pepper over the last 6-8 weeks while I've been harvesting, but only slivers. First time I've had a full one. That's got an extremely respectable amount of heat. It's all of 64 degrees Fahrenheit where I live right now, and it's making me sweat. Got some sweat beads. It's kicking some heat up back to almost to the lower earlobes. I can almost feel the ears wanting to go on fire, almost giving me a ringer, almost. Making me salivate like a crazy man. Nose is starting to run. It's gonna clear out the sinus passages. Brain collapse is a phenomenal pepper. Most people should not eat this fresh as a whole pepper. Little sliver, maybe. Whole peppers, if you're not a chili head, don't do it. I mean, you're just a glutton for punishment, because while my tolerance is high, there's a lot of people's tolerances that are higher. But there's only so many of us that can sit out there and eat a full pepper and really hone in on the flavor that it has, drive through that heat level, and tell you what's going on. And I'll tell you what, the fruity flavor is still here. Bitterness was like a 5-second noticeable bitterness. Floral nature subsided underneath the undertones of the fruity flavor of kind of like a Moruga. When I breathe out my nose, you can get some of that boot-like aroma. But this thing's flavor and heat, and it's just a knockout punch, man. Knockout punch. I gotta blow my nose. Sorry about that. I know that's kind of disgusting and rude, but it just cleaned me up. Cleaned me out from the nose to the ears, man. That is fantastic stuff. So we're a couple minutes in. Definitely up on the high end of the throat. Back end of the tongue is attacking the outer peripheral of the tongue. This is a hot pepper. This is a seriously hot pepper. Drax Diego. Wow, what a cross. Brain collapse is awesome. What's really amazing for me about this pepper is the flavor riding through the burn. It was fruity from the start, and it's still fruity now, riding it out. My tolerance isn't so high that like a pepper like this would peak in like 30 seconds or 60 seconds or a minute. We're like 4 or 5 minutes in, and it's probably just now peaking. It's peaking now. I mean, that tongue burn and the throat burn is intense, but the intensity going back to the ears to give me an ear ringer has subsided. So for that reason, I know it's peaked. But what a peak it is. I mean, it's an incredibly... Hey, Tracy, thanks for tuning in. Hey, Patrick, cool stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not paying as much attention as to the live audience as maybe I should. I apologize. I'm really getting into the flavor of this pepper. Hey, Jimmy, good stuff. Thanks for tuning in. We've been enjoying a brain collapse peach. Phenomenal peppers with way too many genes inside the gene pool. Hey, Joe, thank you very much. It was a lot of placental tissue, a huge seed base. I didn't eat that because I had no food. And we're on the tail end of riding this out. It's a good one. Very fruity. Quite enjoyable. Very hot. It's 64 degrees, plus or minus. And it has made me sweat. It almost gave me an ear ringer. The plant that I pulled them from is here behind me with about another 30, 35, 40 pods on it. I've pulled probably 50 or 60 on it. So it's been a good producer, given the short, stout nature. Hey, Nick, what's up, buddy? Yeah, this is ruthless. I'll give you that, man. It's ruthless. Mike Roddersman, man, I'm glad to see that you pulled through that bike incident. I'm sure that was some scary stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Do I actually enjoy this? Yeah, I do. I enjoy the great flavors that are associated with these. The heat level is slightly uncomfortable and kind of painful at times, but painful for me means like later on I'm going to be on the kitchen floor or the bathroom floor hugging cold porcelain, taking a cold shower, having like what I would equate to the equivalent of like a man giving birth. I don't experience that as much anymore because I know how to prep myself. This one might do that because I had no food whatsoever. But great question. Do I enjoy it? Yeah. I enjoy it because there's very few of us out there that can eat a pepper like this that really has a good flavor, a phenomenal heat level, and describe the experience. So do I enjoy it? Yeah, I do. I really do. All right. So the heat level subsided. The flavor has continued to stay in the mouth, the entire palate, as a fruity, enjoyable experience. Heat level is way up there. I'd say you'd do yourself well to grow this out and use it for powder or sauce. I don't recommend it for fresh eating for everyone as a whole pepper, but as maybe a 16th or an 1/8 of it, yeah, you'd be all right. You'd enjoy it. All right, I gotta go prep for vacation. I'm going away for like a day and a half, so thanks guys for tuning in. When I get back, some of you guys that are waiting for me to cut some peppers, I'll come home and cut peppers when I get back, because there's a lot of them. There's so many of them, it's gonna be hard work. I need to hire like a crew of like 6 people so we can get it done in 4 or 5 hours. This has been Jeff Hobbs, aka the Pepper Wolverine, reviewing the Brain Collapse Peach. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I did. It's a great pepper. I mean, look, it made my eyes bloodshot, clean to be out in the sinus passage, and what a great flavor. Great pepper. Drax Diego, thank you very much. You continue to do what you do and cross some of these incredible things. Peace out, and we'll do this again soon, guys. Thanks.